giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! Ain't let y'all get me today. Ain't let y'all get me today, man. Coming up, it's day 2 of breaking down this Bills team. No one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. All right, we gonna see. Talking about the Bills defense against this Cowboys offense, what challenges they present, where the Cowboys can take advantage of them and attack them. I got it all covered for you. Pretty good show locked up for you. And of course, it's Thursday. We got Patrick No C Walker of DallasCowboys.com joining us at the top of the hour, Cowboys Nation. So make sure you get your notepads, you get your pens, because we got the Cowboys scientist himself joining us on the show as always. And of course, because yesterday we didn't get a chance to talk to you guys because we had a Koye on. That's what we do. So if you want to call into the show after all of that, you can. 351-999-3787 is the call in line. What's good with your Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
How y'all feeling on this beautiful Thursday? We're only a couple days away from what I believe is a statement game for the Cowboys. Yes, I do believe that this offense, at the very least, it's a statement game. That's a statement game in general, because look, the Cowboys are going into this game 2.5-point underdogs, and that should tell you about how good this Buffalo team is. Yes, they're 7-6, but they have talent over there. I think that's really what that means. Plus, you're playing on the road. So we'll talk about why I believe this is a very important game for the Cowboys on offense. And we'll look at some film from Buffalo. We'll look at some numbers. We're going to go inside the numbers. Got a little solid show for y'all. Put some work in on this one, all right? With that said, I think we're going to jump right into this roundup, because in the roundup, not a whole lot. We're going to talk about one of our guys, right? And then we're going to talk about some players that might be out on the opposing team, the ops, right? The ops they might not have a few key players leading into this game, specifically on defense. So I want to touch on that prior to bringing in Patrick No C Walker. Toxic says, Sky, I don't see a 2.5-point for Buffalo at home as a compliment to them, to us, possibly, right? Close game. It's a good team. It's a good team. They're favored. I love it. Let them be favored. 10-3 team going up against a 7-6 team, and you're not favored. Any little thing, man, I'll take it. But at the end of the day, I do know with that quarterback, some of the talent they have over there playing on the road. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect them to be favored, but I don't do the whole betting thing. Plus, from my understanding, y'all, right, that's more to entice betting, right? That's not about who they think is going to win. It's more to entice money or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a bettor. All I know is I think the Cowboys have the better team. Yes, it'll be challenging, but I think personally, if things go cleanly on both sides of the ball, cleanly, this team is better. But we'll break it all down. I got y'all. Let's get into this roundup.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Time.
It's time!
Time?
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Talk to you, Cowboys Nation. Is this the second time Brandon Aubrey got Special Teams Player of the Week? I don't know, but I felt like after Sunday's game, I wanted to feature him a little bit more and talk about it. Brandon Aubrey, Aubramatic, a.k.a. Butter, is what they call him down there. Got the Special Teams Player of the Week again. Rightfully so. Had 15 points in that game, 4 for 4 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points, 60-yarder, 59-yarder, first player in NFL history to kick a 59-plus yard field goal twice, 50-yarder, and a 40-plus yard field goal. Dude is an absolute weapon. An absolute weapon, man. We talked about this on Vacha's show. So, team kicks the ball off. Kicks it out of bounds, right? Kicks it through the uprights, whatever. You get a touchback. Dallas starts at the 25. Theoretically speaking, they only need like 30 yards of offense, and now you've put yourself in scoring position because of this kicker. I mean, that's a weapon. And I know you can say, well, we've had this before. We've had this with Brett Maher. You're kind of right. You're kind of right. Brett Maher was 8 for 11, I think it was, on field goals of 50-plus yards. So far, Brandon Aubrey's 8 for 8. He's 8 for 8. He ain't missed, and he makes him look easy. And yes, Brett has a 62-yarder, right? Didn't he get like a 62-yarder? So he had a boot. Don't get me wrong. He also had a boot. But Brett Maher looking like an all-pro Cowboys nation. He is looking like the best kicker in the National Football League right now. And he's deserving of the Special Teams Player of the Week, but at this pace, he's obviously going to be an all-pro. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But I think he's a weapon for the Cowboys. It gives you some confidence. In fact, there used to be this thought process, because remember, Brett Maher, he was here during the Jason Garrett administration, 2018-19. Remember that? And during that time frame, there was this worry of having a guy with that leg, like, oh my goodness, once we get to the 50, we're going to start getting a little conservative. I think it's different with Aubrey, and I think it's different with this coach, Mike McCarthy, dialing it up. And Dak, this version of Dak, I think you get more aggressive, where it was obvious that JG was more conservative. McCarthy like, look, once we get to that 40, 45-yard line, let's go for the jugular. If you don't get it, cool, we're going to walk away with 3 points. But we don't got to tighten up in that, I'll call it the green zone, money zone area. We don't got to tighten up down there. We're trying to go for the money. And having a guy like Brandon Aubrey, I think, gives you more confidence that, okay, if I don't get a touchdown, at the very least, I can walk away with 3 points. Shouts out to Brandon Aubrey. Let's keep it up, sir. Somebody get him some Timbs. So usually I talk about the Cowboys practice report, but we're going to do that with Patrick Nosey Walker here in a second. I wanted to talk about the Bills. I used to do that. We used to do that, I think last year, the year before. We'd break down the opposing team's practice report as well. This one is interesting because they're going to be without some key, possibly could be without some key players, and then some other key players dealing with some injuries. We don't got to go through their entire list, but there's 2 players I want to point out specifically because we're going to talk about their defense today. Micah Hyde. We should be familiar with Micah Hyde if you remember the 2016 playoff game, I believe, against the Packers. I think it was my guy who got the interception on a screen pass to Beasley. He's their playmaking safety back there, but he's been dealing with neck issues the last 2 years, as we should be familiar with those things. He has a stinger situation that's been bothering him all year. And last week, he came out of the game and did not return and did not practice yesterday. So Taylor Rapp, who's been filling in for Hyde, and Jordan Poyer, who we'll talk about in a second, he's the guy back there, and he's not great in my opinion. So if Micah Hyde's not out there, or even if he is out there and he's dealing with a neck stinger and he has to take a hit, he could potentially be out again. So that's a big loss. They already don't have White, their cornerback there. Teron Johnson's dealing with the ankle. Looks like he possibly could play, though, because he was limited. But another player who, big potential loss here, A.J. Epineza, the Iowa product. He suffered a groin injury against the Chiefs. Only played in 4 snaps. Did get an interception or had a pressure that led to one. Key defender on that team. 7 sacks on the season so far, and he can do some versatile things for you. If you take him out the picture, they're going to be asking Von Miller to do a little more. In any other year, you'd be like, man, more Von Miller. That's a scary thing. Oof. What do we do here? Not this year, though. And look, I feel like every time we set this up that a player's not playing well, they play Dallas, they play well. Von Miller, man, I think he's still dealing with the ACL injury, trying to work his way back from that. Also dealing with some off the field things too. I don't know if that'll affect him this week. That's neither here nor there. We'll talk about on the field. On the field doesn't look like the same player. Doesn't have the same motor. Doesn't have the same burst. Kind of looks like he has a bit of some stoppage to him. He probably doesn't trust his knee quite yet. Now he got a DNP for a vet rest, but he's healthy enough to play. So he's only been getting like 20 snaps or so. He's not really been playing a lot. So if they ask him to play a little bit more, it'll be a challenge because he's Von. But I said this yesterday. I personally believe, because they're going to probably line him up over there on Terrence Steele. I personally believe Terrence had a tougher matchup against Hassan Reddick, given this version of Von Miller. So losing AJ Epineza to me is a big deal. Now, they still got some guys up there. We'll talk about it. We'll go in depth a little bit more on Aubrey and Russo, or not Aubrey, Oliver and Russo and those guys. But Epineza, you can't really shrug your shoulder at that loss if he does not play, which it looks like he's trending towards not. Their other pass rusher, Leonard Floyd, another guy, we talked about him last year playing against the Rams. He can pop up on you from time to time, but he practiced in full, so he'll be out there. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. And we'll keep our eyes on the Cowboys side of things, which we'll talk to Patrick Nosey Walker here in a few minutes. CJ said, I trust Steele in this matchup. I do too. Again, Von Miller, Hall of Famer. Going to Hall of Fame, one of the best pass rushers of our generation. But this is Von Miller coming off the ACL. Maybe he'll have the crowd behind him, some momentum, things like that. I don't know. We'll see. But last week, he started to put together a little bit. He had 2 quarterback hits last week, 3 pressures. So, he popped a little more on film in that game than the other ones I watched. So maybe he's starting to figure it out. But the Epineza guy, he brings a different energy, I think. He has a crazy motor. I think he's versatile. If they decide to put Russo on that side, I like my chances with that. It's speed to me that makes me worry about Terrence. It's not power. It's not trying to run through his chest. It's getting around Terrence and making him run the hump and putting pressure on him to get that kick step out there. Not necessarily trying to run down his chest, which is crazy because years ago you say, oh man, Terrence struggles with power. From time to time, even Lane Johnson got, pushed in the back to Jalen Hurts. But I worry about the quick losses on Terrence Steele, not the slow deaths. You know what I mean? Okay, so yesterday, because shouts out to you, Toxic, bringing up Rolando McClain. Yesterday, on Twitter, Rolando McClain apparently has been reinstated by the NFL. And somebody had made a video of his highlights here in Dallas. I loved Rolando McClain in Dallas, so I retweeted the video. I didn't notice the caption said, I would bring Rolando McClain back on the practice squad. Excuse me, what? So people were in the comments like, hey, I love Rolando, but Sky, I'm not siding him. He's 34. I'm like, oh, my bad. Look, no. I don't want to bring Rolando McClain back. I was just reminiscing that Rolando McClain was fun. He was awesome to watch. He was making plays. He was probably the last real middle linebacker throwback combination of athlete size and speed and physicality. Love Rolando McClain. Rolando McClain need to sit on down. He don't need to come back. So for those who may have seen my tweet or the repost on Twitter, I wasn't insinuating that I wanted to bring him back. That's all I'm saying. That's it. With that said, let's go ahead. Open up the science lab here. Well, I shouldn't say the science lab. Open up your notepads. Click your pens. And let's get ready to walk into the scientific method. Hey, Pat, I don't want no problems. No problems with .com. I don't know nothing about no science lab over here.
Listen. Take it easy.
Oh, man. What's good, bro?
Because if the .com try to go at you, then I got to jump in front of that, and I got to play arbitrator. Like, you know what I mean? Let me be great.
Hey, look. We'll tease that later, but I slipped up there, boy. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to redact that. We're going to have to be welcome, Patrick No-C Walker, to the scientific method. Good morning, good sir. How you feeling?
What's up? I'm good. How you doing, King?
I'm fantastic, man. Let me say this real quick. Shouts out to you, brother. You and how you're handling these trolls. You are taxing them at the bridge this week because Philly fans are in shambles, and I absolutely love it. Oh, I love what you're doing.
Oh, man. It's just light work, bro. It is light work, to say the least. I mean, like, they are the lines of cope that they're snorting this week. It's enough to make Scarface jealous. Like, yeah, but we're bathing in that because this is what you get. Like, you can't give out smoke for weeks and weeks on end over a 5-point victory in week 9. You know, at that point, talking about how our season is over and
Right.
how the division race is over, and you know, coming at me and my mentions for that 4 or 5 week period or longer, talking about how the Cowboys got dominated, how the Eagles won in convincing fashion. I mean, these are actual English words that were being used to describe a 5-point win that came down to a knee, a toenail, and a false start. So then, okay, that's how you want to play it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this entire ass whooping that you took. But then now they want to say, oh no, you saw the one I responded to yesterday. The score doesn't tell the story. Oh, doesn't it? It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't tell the story because it should have been like 60 to 6. Yeah, it should have been like 60 to 6. But anyway, man, it's Thursday morning. I mean, and people like you, myself, and the other analysts. I mean, we've been having our fun with it, but we've also been on to the Bills for a couple of days now. The Eagles, they couldn't tell you who they play this weekend because they're still hurting.
They still hurting. And what they fail to realize with you, man, is that the pen you use, the ink is actually lava, bro. They don't understand that. They really don't. And I love it. I love sitting back and watching you just obliterate them with your words, bro. But let's, like you said, let's go ahead, let's move on. We had our fun. It's time to focus our attention on what I believe is a better team, and that is the Buffalo Bills. But before we do that, can you give us an update on the Cowboys practice report? Because I gave the folks an update on the Bills, but Dallas had a lot of guys sitting out yesterday.
Yeah, Wednesday, it's a veteran rest day for a lot of guys. So, of course, that lengthened the injury report for the Cowboys. But it was also a walkthrough as well. So when I look in, I see someone like Malik Hooker, who's dealing with an ankle, and he was DNP, did not participate on yesterday. That would have raised an eyebrow if it was a full practice, but it was a walkthrough. So for me, it just means it's something to keep an eye on. Let's see what the injury report looks like today for a guy like Malik Hooker. Will he be limited? If he's DNP again today, then I wouldn't say I'm going to DEFCON 1, but my eyebrow would raise and say, okay, well, what's his actual availability odds?
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes today. Obviously, the headline is going to be Jonathan Hankins. Hankins suffered a high ankle sprain. It's being described to me as mild. I asked a couple people around the building on yesterday and the day before, what's the temperature as far as potential IR, and they kind of shrugged that off, and that gives me the implication that he's not an IR candidate as we have this conversation. So the Cowboys, it seems like the Cowboys feel confident that this might just be like a 2-game situation, if that. So they're going to play it this week and sit him, which is what it looks like. I asked McCarthy about it directly yesterday, and he said, quote unquote, he'd be hard pressed to take the field against the Bills. So I'd go ahead and scratch him against the Bills for everyone out there listening. But he does have a shot. Might be a long shot right now, but he does have at least a shot of taking the field against the Dolphins. But
That's
as far
huge.
as IR, Yeah, IR is not in the discussion right now. So even if it's a situation still where he is out 2 weeks, that's Buffalo, that's Miami, that still puts him on the field against the Detroit Lions, which is a massive NFC game.
No, yeah.
So right now, it looks like he could dodge IR. They keep using the word mild when it comes to me. Not a lot of concern. That's the kind of phrases that are being used. So fingers crossed that stays the course with Jonathan Hankins.
Have you heard down there if they're going to bring up Carl Davis?
That's the expectation. So in speaking with some folks and then speaking with McCarthy on yesterday, it sounds as if Carl Davis will get his first practice squad elevation this weekend. He was signed on the back end of November, I think November 28th, 29th, something like that. He's been on the practice squad, and that timing could not have been more fortuitous. Because obviously gave the Cowboys some depth at the position. Unbeknownst to them, a couple, 2-3 weeks later, they would lose Jonathan Hankins for possibly a couple games or so. So just fantastic scouting and personnel work done by Stephen and Will and Jerry and Mike, just staying on top of that. So Carl Davis, former third-round pick, not an older guy, not necessarily the youngest guy. He's right there, in the middle, mid-late 20s. He's got 19 NFL starts under his belt, so he's, not a ton, but he's played some NFL football as a starter, and that's going to be, massive for the Cowboys. I equate him to, hopefully, we'll see what he can do on the field, but hopefully he can be for them what like Chuma Edoga was, right? So you bring in that veteran, and you're hoping that you don't need him, but then if you need him, you're hoping he can step in and be an effective player like Chuma was. So hopefully Carl on the defensive side can be what Chuma was on the offensive line, and that'll take a lot of pressure off of Mozzie Smith, but that doesn't mean there won't be added pressure on Mozzie Smith, because there will be added pressure on Mozzie Smith.
Yes.
He's going to get more reps. He's going to get more burn. He's going to have to, ramp up his development pretty quickly here in the absence of Jonathan Hankins.
I think there's going to be a ton of pressure on those guys without Jonathan Hankins. And honestly, this defense in general is going to have some pressure put on them, because a guy like Josh Allen over there on the other side of the ball he's a tough dude, man. He's a tough dude, literally, physically. He's tough, and he's kind of tough to prepare for because what he can do on the ground and through the air. But to you, what makes Josh Allen one of the tougher guys to deal with and prepare for opposing defenses?
It's the same thing that made Donovan McNabb difficult to deal with, and that's one of the comps that keeps popping in my head when I think of Josh Allen, and that's because if you forced Donovan McNabb to throw from the pocket, he could make all the throws from the pocket, but he was equally, if not more so, willing to take off and run when he needed to take off and run. But when he took off and run, the guy was a unit, and Josh Allen is a unit. So getting him down on the ground, that's a much more daunting task than trying to get like a Kyler Murray who's more shifty. But once you get your hands on him, you got your hands on him. Josh Allen, once you have your hands on him, that doesn't mean he's going to the ground. It might mean you're going to the ground, but he might still be running after the attempted tackle. So Josh Allen is difficult in the capacity of you want to treat him like Jalen Hurts in the aspect of you need to keep him in the pocket and keep contained. But where he differs from Jalen Hurts is once he's in the pocket and contained and you delete the ability for him to escape, now you have to collapse the pocket and you have to get hands on him and you have to sack him. It's not enough to simply just say, okay, we got him in the pocket, let's see what he can do. Well, you know what he can do if you just give him the perfect pocket. It's not about testing his arm. He has the arm, right? And he has the playmakers, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, the list goes on and on, James Cook out of the backfield. So he can surgically dissect you in that fashion if you don't apply pressure. But if you apply pressure, that pipe will burst, and it will burst again and again and again. And he's the kind of guy that he's boom or bust still. So either he's going to have 4 touchdowns and 400 yards with, none or 1 interception, or he's going to give you 3 interceptions and a fumble with only 175 yards, and he's going to be the reason they lost the game. The latter is what the Cowboys are looking for, but it begins with not only forcing him to stay in the pocket, not only keeping contained, but you got to get to him and you got to get him on the ground.
Indeed, man, and you absolutely have to be able to cover his top guys on that back end, right? He's got some playmakers back there, and his number one playmaker is obviously Stephon Diggs. and we have our own Stephon, right? Stephon Gilmore, who
Right.
Gilly, man, he on a hot streak, brother. He on a nice little hot streak, and I know he's about to go into a cold environment, but it's a familiar environment. You wrote an article about
Exactly.
Gilly going back to Buffalo, and I think that matchup is key. Do you have a feel that they'll continue this kind of star coverage situation? I know they haven't been keeping Gilly on one guy the whole game, but this feels like, hey man, let's ride the hot hand here.
Yeah, this is as close to traveling as you'll probably get when it comes to the Cowboys secondary, because they don't necessarily, Dan Quinn doesn't necessarily like to assign one guy to one guy and then travel that guy. But you've seen Gilly travel enough where you can, you can presume that that's going to be the case against a guy who's targeted as heavily as Stephon Diggs is. And then when you look at the heater that Stephon Gilmore is on as far as coverage and tackling and being right there on the guy's hip, I think it just makes sense. And then, of course, he's getting some top secret inside intel from Trevon Diggs, and has been since training camp. So there's plenty of information on Stephon Diggs for Stephon Gilmore to dissect, including film. Obviously, he said on yesterday that even though he's getting some insight from Trevon, that's not going to undermine his weekly tradition of dissecting the film on the guys that he's going to cover. And the thing about Gilmore is, I know he's not the fastest guy, but especially after what A.J. Brown said to him, I think that he's looking to be much more physical than he's been in the past couple of years, and that's what you saw against A.J. Brown. Now, here's where that comes into play against Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is easily one of the most explosive wide receivers in the league, easily. But he can be frustrated very easily if you get physical with him. You get your hands on him and push him around a little bit, you can knock him off of his game mentally. And if that then causes, or knocking him off of his routes and off of his timing, if that then causes Josh Allen to look away from him, then put your eyes to the sidelines, because you're going to start to see Stephon Diggs' attitude toward Josh change over the course of the game. And then, gotcha. So when it comes to Stephon Diggs, it's more so about disrupting his timing. Try to get him on the press if you can. Don't give him free releases. And the safeties are going to be stressed to do their job in a big way. Malik Hooker, as he roams center field like that, whether it be single high with Malik or double high and you're dropping Curse down, or whatever you do, whatever you need to do, however you need to figure it out, you need to draw a circle around Stephon Diggs, because if you can delete him from the game, which also goes to deleting Josh Allen by sacking him and taking him down, then you have a massive chance of winning. And when it comes to weather, I'm glad you brought that up really quickly. So many of these Dallas Cowboys don't necessarily know what it feels like to play in Buffalo in December. The good news is if the weather holds up as it stands right now, it'll just be perfect football weather.
Yes.
Okay. Upper 40s, maybe tap dance at around 50, moderate wind, cloudiness, but the sun peeking through with no precipitation. If that holds, weather's not that much of a factor. But if it were to dip a little bit, or you get some of that random lake effect stuff, nothing Stephon Gilmore isn't accustomed to. He's a former 10th overall pick from guess who? The Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
Spent 5 years with the Bills, and then guess where he went? The New England Patriots. So, and then not only was he playing at Gillette in that weather, but guess who had to play twice a year? The Buffalo Bills. So he knows Orchard Park. He knows how to play in front of that fan base. He knows how to play in front of that, in that weather. So it's more it's a homecoming for him. So I expect him to have a big game.
I had a stint in Erie for a couple years, it was adjacent to Buffalo and very similar weather. Let me tell you something right now. 48 winds of 8 to 10 or so miles per hour. Sun is out. That's a balmy spring day, bro. That is a balmy spring day. As long as you got the heated benches, we're not playing in the poverty franchise in Washington where they ain't got heated benches.
Yeah.
As long as
we
you
don't
got
have to. We don't have to take hours.
Nah, long sleeves with the coat. You're good to go. Talking about here, 48 degrees. We play football. 48 degrees is football weather. Come on.
Dude, 48 degrees in mid-December in upstate New York.
Spring.
I mean, like, the football gods, again, as long as this holds, I want to keep saying that because I don't want to piss off the football gods by assuming. But based on what the football gods are telling the meteorologists to tell us, it's looking good right now. And if that stays the case, then weather will not be a factor, and that completely takes a lot of leverage away from the Bills, and it just evens the scales. And then it's just about who's the better team, who wants it more, who's going to commit the fewest amount of self-inflicted wounds.
Indeed, man. We got Patrick No C Walker, DallasCowboys.com, joining us. Can you give us a Science Lab TM teaser or your article that you're going to have this week? Hey, Derek, you see I TM that, right? So we good.
Yeah.
We good, Derek.
I can't with you, bro. I can't. All right, so
That's all love.
Science Lab drops this morning on the .com, typically around 10 a.m. Central Time, no later than 11 a.m. Central Time. But this week we're going to focus on Brandon Aubrey. The last time I dedicated a Science Lab to Brandon Aubrey, it was right as he was he was on the cusp of potentially breaking the NFL record for most consecutive field goals to start an NFL career. But I think it was like 3 or 4 kicks before then, because he was already on the heater. That made me wonder if he could be better than Dan Bailey's rookie season. Well, now fast forward to where he is now, and he has already surpassed that. But doing a deeper dive into the numbers, what was eye-opening to me was, this is a huge spoiler, but you still got to read it to see how I came to this conclusion. Brandon Aubrey deserves to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, but not just in the conversation. He deserves to be a front runner. And I know who he's going up against, and I talk about that in the article as well. But if you go back, and I did, if I went back and I looked at the history of the Offensive Rookie of the Year award and the NFL Rookie of the Year award over the span of, since 1955, over the span of 6 different voting platforms, and it's going to drop your jaw how infrequently a place kicker gets their respect. But now needs to be the time, because if you're ever going to give a place kicker his respect in that fashion, it's got to be Brandon Aubrey based on what he's doing. So check out Science Lab. It is deep dive, robust. It's delicious. It's seasoned well, and just feed yourself this morning.
Seasoned well. Hey, that sounds with the sidelines hilarious. But Patrick No C Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Appreciate you, my brother, man. Make sure y'all check him out later today with that fantastic article on the Science Lab.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
brother.
Talk to you at 11 to 3.
Indeed. Peace. Let me tell you something. Lived in Erie. Well, not necessarily Erie. Edinburgh. All right. For about 3 years or so, something like that. I say lived, but went to school. And which is right there next to Erie, which the weather's crazy. So when I hear 48 degrees, no snow, no freezing rain, maybe some rain, but no freezing rain. Oh, come on. I mean, if you look at the schedule back in April when it drops and you say, damn, Buffalo in December, automatically I'm thinking snow, 28 degrees, 20 degrees, whatever, right? Like freezing. They used to make us walk to class in like 2 feet of snow. Up there, they don't see. Down here, if it rains too hard, people don't know how to drive. If a little bit of a flurry, schools are closed. Hell, they even starting to do it in PA. I noticed too. Like, what the hell is happening? These kids can't go to school in flurries. But anyway, it was 2-3 feet of snow. And they're like, nope, class is still going on. So if I go check out the weather, right? I'm over here on weather.com. Man, that thing went up to 50 degrees, y'all. 50 degrees, cloudy with an occasional shower for the afternoon. An occasional little it's going to spit or something like that. Ain't nothing crazy. A high of around 50. Winds, now the winds say 10 to 20. That's a big discrepancy. But if it's in the 10, 11, 12, that ain't nothing, man. Now, if it's up 20, that's 20, 25, they get crazy. But boy, come on, man. Look at this. It's saying 13 miles per hour. Come on, man. 50 degrees, 13 miles per hour winds, light rain. You know what you do to prepare for this? And I'm pretty sure they're doing that up there at the start. You remember in week 1 we came out of week 1 and we were like, man, y'all had like a different game plan. Y'all seem to adapt to this rainy weather really well. Like, because it was monsoon on the East Coast everywhere. It wasn't just in New York. They said, yeah, we had a rain plan. Not a game plan, a rain plan. So I'm pretty sure they're putting in a rain plan against this team as well. I believe in my guys. I truly do. I believe in my guys to be prepared for this. If it happens to rain a little bit more than it needs to, or if the weather gets cold. But right now, 50, it's beautiful football weather, man. You ain't got to change much of anything. Master Gunner said, we get a half inch of snow. We put up for 2 days. It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Like nowadays, I remember being at this, and I'm not trying to sound old because I'm not that old, but contrary to popular belief, forget y'all. At the bus stop, being able to, the snowballs, throwing them at people and whatnot. If you can make a snowball, they're not allowing you to go to school anymore. Am I tripping? Now in PA, they're equipped for that, so they need to be going to school. And here, man, I don't even think they have a snowmobile. I don't think they have a plower down in Dallas, and I get it, right? It doesn't snow much, and I wasn't here for the ice storm, thankfully. Was not here for the ice storm. I hate that a lot of people had to go through that down here, but man, Texas, y'all different with this weather, bro. Y'all different. I don't even like driving down here no more when it rains or if it snows. Y'all can't drive in general. And what y'all not going to do is act like y'all not going to act like I was out here in school in 1920. Y'all can go ahead and stop that now. Let's take a quick little break. Come back. We're going to talk about this Cowboys offense against this Buffalo Bills defense.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
What school did I go to? Edinburgh University, man. And let me tell you, boy, I was not ready for that weather. And I'm from PA, right? So, cold weather. But Edinburgh weather is different. I visited that school in April. Called them on like a good day. It's beautiful, man. The fountains was gone. It's a college town. It's like, hey, this is beautiful. Yeah, I think I could do this. No problem. I get up there right around my birthday. October's very young. I didn't even bring a coat yet, because hey, I gotta get a coat until I go back home for the holidays. I just need a little bristle, little jacket. Boy, that weather turned on you quick. I had to go down Erie to Burlington and get me a big boy coat in like September. It started to get cold. Then it started snowing in October. I said, man, y'all on steroids up here. And they, my grandma used to tell me, yeah, watch out for that lake effect snow. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Lake effect? I don't know about no lake. We got City Island in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The lake effect snow. I'll tell you right now, kids, if you decide to go live in Erie or Edinburgh, be prepared for that lake effect snow. Woo. That lake effect snow is crazy, fam. I mean, 5 degrees and it's nonstop snowing for days. I almost quit Edinburgh. The first year I said, I won't come back, but you develop friends and things like that. But man, I ain't telling my son to go no damn Edinburgh. Anyway, let's talk about this game. Enough about my life. Elements aside, the Cowboys offense has something to prove up there in Buffalo, man. It does. It has to build road momentum. And the talk around the Cowboys offense right now is that they're not the same offense on the road, right? But you can say that, in my opinion, you can say that about 99% of teams. The offenses, or teams in general, but the offenses on the road are not going to be the same as they are at home. However, there was like a big discrepancy when you look at the early portion of the season compared to the later portions of the season, right? Like the Cowboys offense, really, it wasn't the same, and it wasn't closing out as well. And the points per game are way different. It's almost 40 points per game at home. I think it's hovering around 23 or so for the Cowboys on the road. But I do think you have to look at this thing a little different now that we're going into week 14 of the season. I do think you have to look at it differently. And this is what I mean. If you look at the offense pre-bye week and post-bye week, in general, we know it's different. But I'd even argue it's gotten better on the road. Now, these are points that the offense was responsible for, not the special teams or the defense scoring touchdowns. So points that the offense was responsible for. Let's look at pre-bye week, okay? You got the New York Giants on the road week 1, rainy day. Remember that? It was a rainy night, I should say. And the Cowboys' first game in this Texas Coast offense, it wasn't a here we go offense. Yeah, it was Texas Coast. They put up 26 points. They moved the ball. They punched it in the red zone. They did fine. Week 1. Week 3, they go to Arizona. That's where things got weird, right? They struggled a bit. 3 starters out up front. Mike McCarthy comes out and says, hey, I overreacted in that one. Although we did move the ball, over 400 total yards in that game with 0 turnovers from the defense, by the way. But they couldn't punch it in the red zone. That's when our red zone woes were really creeping up. Only scored 16 points. We don't need to say anything about San Francisco. Then at LA versus the Chargers, they scored 20 points. And that was a game where things started to open up a bit. We started to see a little bit more of the here we go. It was kind of the here we coast offense. It wasn't quite open up and let loose with Dak Prescott. There was still some coast to it, some Texas coast to it. But you started to see things change a little bit. Scored 20 points in that game, and they had the game-winning drive when they needed to. You started to see things click there. Then the bye week came. And that's when this offense completely opened up in general. So what about the road game, Scott? Cowboys go to Philly. To me, I would not say that game in Philly was an indictment on a bad offense. Yes, they only scored 23 points. I get it. But let's be real. They left at least 10 points on the board in that game. At least 10. What I mean by that is they could have kicked the field goal on one, and they also should have scored a touchdown on another. And I'm not even talking about the last possession of the game. I'm just talking about the other times they failed towards the end in the red zone. They got down there 3 times, only came away with 6 points. So I wouldn't necessarily say the offense struggled in that game. They put up over 400 yards. Dak diced them up. They had some moments where they ran the ball well. Wasn't a problem there. Carolina, one of the most respectable pass defenses. You had to kind of adjust a little bit. Cowboys did adjust, but they still scored 26 points on offense, and they protected the rock there. So I didn't think the offense struggled. I wouldn't say it was amazing, but when your offense can go get you 26, I'll take that all day and tomorrow. Now they're about to hit this road, situation here. These next 2 games against quality opponents on the road, and I think it's time to build momentum, and here's why. The Cowboys, as we currently stand right now, the odds are they will be playing on the road in the playoffs. They will be playing quality opponents like Buffalo, like Miami, on the road in the playoffs. So they need to build some momentum for themselves. For fans, we're going to be fans. We're going to be hyping. We're going to be confident in our team in general. But can they average over 25, 26 points per game on the road against quality opponents? Can they say to themselves, yeah, we can go do the here we go offense, even if it's a silent count on the road? Because we're going to have to do that as it currently stands. Now, things can change. Maybe they get the home field. But you want to gain that confidence, right? You want to gain that confidence that I can go to Philly and get the dub on the road. If I got to go to Detroit, if I got to go to San Fran, which is a tough one, that's the toughest one, right? But if I got to go on the road, I can still run our offense. And the reason why I say I think you have to look at this thing differently. Pre-bye week, Texas coast, not here we go. I think there's a different offense. Post-bye week, you saw some of the here we go stuff, implemented and work in Carolina and in Philly. But they're 1-1. Now you got a chance to build some momentum against the Buffalo Bills. And it's again, I don't necessarily think this is going to be easy. However, I would love for it to look that way. Would love for it to look that way. The Buffalo Bills defense led by Sean McDermott. He's taken over the defensive play calling duties in 2023. It's a strange looking defense, man, but they are 6th in the league in defense and scoring defense. And they have forced the 3rd most turnovers. So very opportunistic style of defense. And they got some players, that I like. I like Tyrell Dotson. I think he's a very athletic sideline-to-sideline linebacker, do some good things in coverage. Rasul Douglas, they traded for him. I don't think he's an amazing talent, but he is a veteran cornerback that's had some good years in this league. Jordan Poyer is their veteran safety without Micah Hyde back there. And Ed Oliver is a very sneaky 3-tech, maybe underrated because he's in Buffalo, but he's top 5 in pressures and he's got 8 sacks. I do like our offensive line against him, but he's very Osa Odigizua-esque, right? Undersized 3-tech that can get some quick penetration. But let's dive inside the numbers on this Buffalo Bills defense. Some very interesting numbers on these guys. Average points scored per drive, they're 11th. So that tells you right there that they will make it tough on you to get points. They're not a top 10 defense in that manner, but they're respectable. The lowest average depth of target allowed in the league. What does that even mean? That means they're not giving you anything deep. They want you to throw 5, 10, 12 yards at best down the field. In fact, technically their average depth of target is like 6 yards or something like that. So they're really not allowing you to go deep, but you do have to pick your spots correctly. And that makes sense though, because when you watch them, when you look at the analytics, when you watch them on film, they run a ton of that too high. They run a ton of that middle of the field open, whether it's starting at too high, whether it's rotating to a too high, trying to throw you off. But they run middle of the field open coverage at the highest in the league, and they run middle of the field closed coverage at the lowest. What does that mean? Exactly what it sounds like. At the start of the snap, the middle of the field deep is open, or the middle of the field is closed with a single high safety. They run too high shell the 8th most in the league. And that makes sense, given Sean McDermott's history. So when you have all of that middle of the field open, when you play all of that too high, it means you're going to have light boxes. And they do that the 6th most in the league. So it's going to be important once again, especially on the road, to be efficient on the ground. The Cowboys were that against the Eagles last week. I thought they were that against the Carolina Panthers on the road. And they need to be that in this game. And one of the things I noticed is that if you can't be efficient against this team, I feel like you have the offensive line that can be bullies. I don't see a whole lot of like penetration in that department from that defensive line. I don't think they play on the other side of the field on the ground. Jordan Phillips is a big dude. 6'6", like 350 or something. He's huge, right? But he takes up bodies, but I don't really see him play on the other side line of scrimmage. Ed Oliver, quality pass rusher. Smaller guy. I think he can be moved. Russo is a long athlete, like a 5-tech type. He can play the edge pretty well. But in my opinion, the guy that keeps that run game respectable from a defense side of the ball is Dotson. I think Dotson is the athlete. Like I said, sideline to sideline, he can see it. He got the speed to make guys miss and get downhill and make a tackle. But I just don't think their run defense is a fearing run defense. I don't. Overall, they're 29th in the NFL in yards per attempt on the ground, which again is weird. This defense is really weird. Because if you go and look at how they've played against running backs earlier in the season, they were terrible against them. So that number was sky high. I mean, they had games where running backs were averaging 7 and 6 yards per carry. I mean, it was ridiculous. But the only team whose running backs averaged more than 3.8 yards per carry over the last 8 games were the Eagles. So they figured that out a little bit, but just watching it on film, I don't fear their run defense. So I still think you can do what you do offensively from a run game standpoint, split those carries, get to that 25 attempt mark with Rico Dotto and TP. And I think the Cowboys will be all right. Now they don't blitz a lot. Let me bring this up here. They don't blitz a ton. And they do this Jim Johnson thing, guys. If you guys remember Jim Johnson, rest in peace. I know he's a Philly legend, but as a football guy, he was one of my favorite defensive coordinators to watch during that era. Fantastic defensive coordinator. They'll show blitz, right? They'll mug the A-gaps. That's a Jim Johnson staple all damn day, it feels like. And then they'll either drop back or they'll send a guy, and they're going to, test your communication up front. Now, Jim sent that blitz a whole lot. Doesn't happen with Sean McDermott. They're about middle of the pack when it comes to that. But when he does send the blitz, it kind of looks like Wink Martindale. Y'all remember Wink, right? Cowboys played Wink a couple times. The difference here is Wink plays a crap ton of man when he does it. What I mean by looks Wink Martindale-ish is that, hey, we're going to simulate pressure on one side, but we're overloading on the other, and we're actually going to drop back. So we're challenging your communication up front. We're challenging your quarterback up front. Good thing is you got a Dak Prescott who knows how to navigate said situation. So regardless, I think you're going to have a game plan against it just in case they do send it. Or if they don't, what I'd like to see them do is attack the middle of the field, whether it be with seam routes or whether it be with guys coming to sit down in the middle of the field, pull these guys out of their zone, distract them. And I really do believe in our concepts against this defense. Now, what was the game that I studied? It was the Bengals, and I'm going to tell you why. I mean, I watched the Chiefs game as well, but midway through that, I was like, the Chiefs aren't the same offense, man. It's not the same offense. We don't have the same skilled players. I know they got a Patrick Mahomes. I know they got a Andy Reid, but I'll give you my reasons why here in a second. In the last 6 weeks, they have only played 2 high-end quarterbacks. That's it. The other games, Jets, Bucks, Broncos, Eagles. But y'all know what I'm saying. Last week they played Patty. And like I just said, that offense ain't the same to me. It's not the same, folks. Studied the Bengals because I feel like the Bengals most similarly represent what we do, right? From a skill standpoint, I think you got 2 top-tier quarterbacks who can read defense, can make all the throws, has mobility. I think from a skill player standpoint, they got a respectable running back. We got a respectable running back. They've got an elite wide receiver core. I believe we have an elite wide receiving core. They got a number 1. We got a number 1. Got a number 2 you got to watch out for. So do we. They have a legitimate number 3 slot guy. Well, we got a plethora of dudes who know at any given day can be a number 3 wide receiver. So I'm going to pull up some film on this game as soon as I can get it correct. Cowboys Nation, bear with me, please. I should have had this prepared for y'all. My apologies. I mean, I have it, but it ain't quite like I want it. 1 second here. Boom, boom. Bow. Bang. I think this will work. You move down here. Bam. If something messes up here, we'll figure it out. We'll fix it. In fact, I do think I want to do, let me see this. Bow. Here we go. This will work. All right. This is the, oh, you go back here. This is the Bills defense against the Bengals, I believe, in week 9. And this look here, again, I got to fix this top so you can see that there's a light box. But this is what we talk about. When they have a light box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you've got to be able to run on this. We talk about a lot, or at least Schottenheimer talked about, hey, we got to run the ball when they know we're going to run the ball. My thing is, you got to run the ball when you can run the ball against light boxes. You got to be able to do it. And there was some instances where they did this. I thought both of their running backs, in Williams and Mixon, did that fairly well, right? But they didn't do it a whole lot because they didn't need to, because Joe Burrow was on one in this game. Another position that had a ton of success in this game, and when this game made me go back and look at other teams that had some tight ends. But the tight ends, man. The tight ends. This is Irv Smith catching a touchdown over Jordan Poyer. The tight ends were fantastic in this one. Yeah, let me go ahead and fix this real quick. Here we go. Here we go. One more. The tight ends were fantastic in this one. They caught 10 passes for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another tight end pass right here. And all 3 of them got busy in this one. So that's what made me think, okay? That's what made me think maybe Hendershot can get busy in this game. Maybe Schoonmaker could potentially get busy in this game. Nonetheless, here's the mugging that I'm talking about. Now, I know a lot of teams do this, but a lot of the times they're going to pull back. But what you got to be able to do is, if they show this look, and this is again a light box look, you got to be able to run at this thing. And they did that. I thought Mixon ran hard. I thought they were efficient when they needed to be. Now, this is the double A gap mug look where they're going to not blitz. It looks like they're going to blitz, but they're going to pull back here. But this tests, in my opinion, this tests your offensive line. And on this particular play, Joe Burrow is going to adjust, and he should have been a full start, but Joe Burrow is going to adjust the protection just in case they do blitz. And I do respect how disciplined they are in their zone. I don't think these guys are lost. This isn't the Eagles. The Eagles defense, I feel like they get lost a lot. So you're going to have to be able to make the correct read, make it fast, and get the ball to your guys to get upfield, get a first down. But that's what they like to do. If you happen to miss it, they'll show a double A gap blitz, but they'll only send a normal 4, and they'll drop back. These guys right here. And sometimes 20, is that 25? Yeah, 25 would just flat out turn his head to the quarterback and just try to find work. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a tight end play. So one thing, I wonder if they saw this on film. Again, they give you these wonky looks sometimes. I have all these guys at the line of scrimmage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he could be a lurker where he'll blitz. Just in case he does blitz, this is my guy, right? Like, I got you. I feel like they saw something on film that said, well, if I got my tight end back here blocking, looking like he's blocking, making this guy commit, then I can leak out here. And that's what happens on this play. That's the tight end's man right here. Because he thinks he's blocking, he gets released. And I truly do believe this was deliberate. And it's not a walk-in touchdown, but damn near a walk-in touchdown. So, once again, this is my guy if he blitzes. It's going to take care of him. However, he's not really blitzing, if we're being honest. He's taking a look at Sample just in case he goes out for a route. Sample shows block. Psych. Easy walk-in touchdown. So, watching the Bengals, I see a lot of things that Cowboys can implement because we do a lot of bunch formations like this. We do some pre-snap. We do a lot of pre-snap motion. The Bengals don't do a whole lot of pre-snap motion like the Cowboys, but I like it. But again, this is a Cowboys staple play. Absolutely love this play. We haven't run it in quite some time. I love to see it. This is the fake screen right here. Let's fake the screen. We're going to send him up. Now, I think maybe this was a miscommunication because you shouldn't have two guys in the same area. But when you fake that screen, he's going to bite. He's going to bite. And they're actually going to go drop back into a zone like they normally do. And you got two guys wide open down here. Personally, I'm sending one guy inside to drag this dude. And then I got the 9 route here. But it is what it is. The will worked. They got it done. The Cowboys run that play extremely well. I would love to see him test this Bills secondary with that play again. I don't remember the last time we saw a Cowboys Nation. Carolina. There we go. Boom. We ran it against Carolina, and the Cowboys were successful in doing so. So if you want to get a good look at what this defense could look like against the Cowboys, I will go watch the Bengals game. Watch the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have the weapons. The Chiefs don't really respect the Chiefs' weapons like they respect. I think they're going to respect the Cowboys' weapons. They're not going to come out that shell. They're going to play too high. They play it more than damn near any team or top 10 doing it. So you got to be able to run against it. And the times that they do get into some man coverages or some, match zone stuff, you got to take advantage. Rasul Douglas had a fantastic year a couple years ago. He's not playing terrible now. I think he's solid, but I don't think he can deal with a CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks down and down out. Tyron Johnson, their nickel corner. Again, I don't really care if he's healthy or not. I don't think you can mess with CeeDee Lamb. He's banged up a little bit, right? Go after him. But I would test the communication of this defense. They really haven't seen a offense of late that runs as many, motion things as the Cowboys do. So I think it will test their communication throughout the day. Philly doesn't do it a whole lot. Even Cincinnati. Cincinnati doesn't run a whole lot of pre-snap motion. Dallas will. I think Dallas, the here we go offense, you saw it against Philly. Yeah, it was on the road, but they were still doing motion. So I think Dallas should keep at that and test that communication of the Buffalo Bills defense. All right, let's jump into these phone lines real quick and talk to you guys for a little bit here. Then we'll take a look at some super chats and we'll wrap to the chat, man.
Everything on the outside is good to go. Okay. Screens are good. Ceiling are outside. The screens are good. Your deck is good. So
I ain't gonna do that to you. Some 929. I'm gonna come back to you, 929. I don't know what's happening over there, but sound like you at work. Sound like you gotta build some things and you're charging some people. So take care of the bill. Let's get to Chris. You don't wipe them 304s. What's good, bro?
Hello, Sky. What's up, bro?
What's up with you?
Can you hear me?
Faintly, a little bit.
All right, let me. Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Sweet. Yeah, man. So listen to this, right? I work in the Philadelphia area, right? Live there. And I was talking crazy this week, bro. I went into work on Monday. I had my Cowboys Superman cape on. I had a boombox playing We Done Boys. I was letting them hear it, right? So I go into work today, right? I get an award at work. I'm all proud of myself, and they start booing me. And they're like, oh, Cowboys suck. And I look at them, and I did the DX. You know what I'm talking about. Right in their face, bro. I'm still on one from that game. I'm actually more hyped now than I have been all week about that game.
Why is that?
No, after that whole situation. So I'm going to say this, right? The Eagles are going to lose to the Cardinals, and we're going to win the division. Call me, we don't wipe these 304 Stradamus.
Hey, man, I love for that to happen. Interesting you say the Cardinals. A lot of people are hot on Tommy DeVito right now. A lot of people got the Giants whooping on him once or twice in his last 3 or 4 games. So, but the Cardinals do have the quarterback to make some plays, right? So this isn't, although Josh Dobbs beat the Cowboys, this isn't that quarterback. This is a better quarterback that they'll be going up against. But look, any given Sunday, I know they got quote unquote an easier schedule, but like I said the other day, I just watched the Tennessee Titans beat the Miami Dolphins. Recently, this is recent. So this isn't like, oh, well, that's week 2. No, this happened on Sunday. And Philly's reeling a little bit, man. Teams are figuring these boys out. They quarterback, you know, it's funny. They all love their quarterback who's monotone, don't show no emotion, says the same damn things at the podium as they're winning, right? And I used to always say, people used to come at Dak because on the sideline he's chill, he's being even, or at least it looks that way when the camera's on him after, you know, they score a touchdown or make a mistake or something. So he's trying to stay even kill. They'd be like, I don't like Dak Prescott looking like that. I'm like, fam, Jalen Hurts does that all the time and no one says anything. What do you want? What do you want him to do? Go over there and start crying? You want him to start throwing things around and getting crazy and tearing up the sideline? Man, no. The quarterbacks have to be able to stay on an even kill. But I find it hilarious now that they're losing and the Eagle fans are turning on me. Like, I don't want to hear the standard is the standard anymore. I don't want to hear, you know, all the things he says every week. I just love it, man. I love it.
The Instagram captions.
Yeah, all the Instagram captions. Yeah, exactly. With the black and white photos in the back and the edits. Yeah, they don't care about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I think they're going to lose that game because Jonathan Gannon's going to go in there and he's going to be on one. And Philly fans are going to hate Jonathan Gannon even more after that game.
Sure.
And, hey, one more thing before I leave. Yeah, I feel great about this matchup on Sunday due to the fact that, you know, their offense is very reliant on Stephon Diggs. Bro, we got Stephon Gilmore, and honestly, I don't think I've ever felt more – I haven't felt this confident in a long time about, you know, going into matchups with a corner than I have with Stephon Gilmore. I mean, for real, like, I don't think he's the type of dude that'll let, like, you know, a receiver go for 150 or something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't say their offense is relying on Stephon Diggs. He's not even really been – he's been just, in my opinion, another guy for quite a while now, for like a couple weeks or a month. I think their offense is heavily reliant on Josh Allen to do everything. Like that's the thing. Josh Allen has to literally do everything in that offense. Now, not Ken Dorsey, Joe Brady he's alleviated some of that pressure by including James Cook in the pass game and using Latavius Murray and James Cook in the run game. But I'd argue, you know, Dalton Kincaid, you know, is a guy. I know they got Diggs out there, but they also have a Dalton Kincaid too. So I wouldn't say it's relying on Diggs at all, honestly.
Hey, and this might, you know, obviously it sucks not having Hankins, but if there's a single team that, like, if I had to choose a team for Hankins to not be there, it would be the Bills because they're not a team that necessarily runs on the interior.
Yeah, Hankins out was going to suck, you know. That's going to suck, man. He was such a good player. No matter where they tried to run, he'd force the action outside. It sucks not having him. I don't like having him, not having him. Period. I'd rather it be against like Washington, you know, where Washington don't like to run the ball. Joe Brady he'll get in stints where he'll run the rock. You know, he'll run it. So I'm hoping Cowboys get up enough that they make Joe Brady say, all right, we're going to put this game in Josh Allen's hands. But I hate not having Hankins in this game, especially on the road. I do.
Yeah, definitely. I feel you. Well, all right, Scott, God bless you and your family.
Thank you, brother. Let's get the Marcus, man. What's good with you, bro?
Yo, what's good, bro? What's good? Good morning. Good morning. Hey, man. Yeah, look, if they play in that shell, that's right. We got to attack that in the middle of the field. I agree with you. You know, one thing I noticed about your film, man. You know, and it kind of upsets me. It's gonna get to a larger point, but what I will say about that, your film study, what you were showing a little bit there is Gronkowski and Brady in New England. They mastered that kind of cat and mouse game. What do we do when you kind of fake this glitch and show this stuff, whatnot, right? So Gronkowski was, people forget how good a blocker he was up there. And they did the same thing in Tampa. They were almost calling their own plays at the line of scrimmage. Yep. Gronkowski and Brady were.
They got Dallas with one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm looking at Ferguson. You know, Ferg is the word, they say. Ferg gonna beast out there if he sits there and they show blitz and he sees he can slip out late, delays and stuff like that. So they're building that, I think. And I guess my larger point is that I just hate, even though they taking some tremendous strides the Cowboys have offensively and quickly, where would this offense be, man, if they had been let Mike McCarthy do this once he first got here? it just frustrates because a lot of this we wouldn't be worried about because we'd already know that they can handle it, even with the sample size that we've had up to this point. But that's just me somewhere else. But hopefully, man, we can attack them at underbelly because if they're not going to let us beat them deep, and they probably aren't, then that sounds like Ferguson and Pollard and Rico. That sounds like it's going to be a big game for those guys. So that's what I'm looking forward to, man. And if you're going to be great, man, I believe greatness is about occasion. It's not location. If I can ape the playmaker for a minute, hey, it's not. Greatness is not about location. It's about occasion. You're going to have to be great. You can be great wherever, man. So
sure.
Let's get this out here on the road. And let's say, hey, we them boys wherever we at. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing these next couple of weeks. So great show, man, as always. Patrick No-C doing his thing and keep it pushing, B.
All right, man. Appreciate you, big dog. Yeah, sure. Man. Let me lock that up. All right, cool. I said this during I think it was the off season. It might have been a regular. I don't know. But I brought this up many different times. I just imagine where we could have been at 4 years. Year 4. I would have took year 2, to be honest. I thought Wonder Boy should have been canned after the first playoff loss to the Niners, But, your front office got to do it their way, and they're learning that that's not always the best way. So it is what it is, man. Let's keep it moving. Jay Worthy. What's good, brother?
Yo, Scott, what it is, my guy?
What's up with you?
Just driving,
hey, be careful.
Back from the service. So, hey, man, listen, I'm good. I was at my service. I was texting in the text at my service, but now I'm driving. I'm good, my guy.
All right, cool.
Look, when you look at this Bills game, and this is how I feel. This is not how everybody else feels, nothing like that. We going to blow them out. Why do I say that?
I love it.
Because when we played that Eagles game, we looked ourselves in the mirror. The Eagles, offensively and defensively, they mirror us. We look ourselves in the mirror and we say who we are. And we showed it. We was better than that team. We blew them out. That was our only big test. When you look at the way the 4-letter network is doing it, and they putting us in this 2-team box of who we are. Oh, they can't. Let's see them do this against the Eagles. Let's see them do this against the Niners. Because they know we are head and shoulders better than everybody else. They know that. And so now, when we're going against the Buffalo Bills, now they're trying to put that Buffalo Bills team in that box with the Eagles and with the 49ers, and we ain't going to let them do that. We're going to blow out the Buffalo Bills. I promise you. In your film study, it shows it. I'm looking at your film, and I'm like, you see these linebackers with their backs towards the quarterback? Oh, we're going to eat that up all day, like you said, Hendershot, Fergie, all of them, here, TP coming out the backfield. We are who we are, and they are who we thought they were. They're 7-6, we're 10-3, and it's going to be trouble for them. It's going to get dark for them. What you think, Scott?
Nah, it's about what you think, man. I mean, hey, I hope you're right. I did my breakdown. I talked about where they struggle at, where they're good at. It's a tough team. You're playing on the road. I think they're gonna give us a nice little challenge. But man, I would love to blow them out.
Scott, when the last time you saw in the middle of December, 50 degrees, warm weather, low wind precipitation, like you said, a little spit of rain, that's nothing. Great football weather in Buffalo. This is our year, Scott.
Buffalo. Let's focus on Buffalo. All right, Jay Worthy. All right, man. Salute. Look, man. Look, hey. Y'all think we gonna blow them out? Y'all think we gonna blow them out, man? I ain't quite there yet, with that situation. I think you're gonna need the defense in order to blow them out. You're going to need the defense to do what the defense does at the crib, and that's create turnovers, score some points, and things like that. What you want me to do, man? Y'all know I can't fake the funk, man. I think we're gonna beat this team 100%. I've seen scores in here though, 42 to like 10 or something like that. Like, bro, if we beat these dudes 42 to 10 or something like that, I think that's a good team over there. I don't think this is some rinky-dink ass squad. And we're playing on the road. At the end of the day, you're not the same. It is what it is. You're not the same team on the road as you are at home. I get that. But woo, we'd love to blow them out. We'd love to blow them out, man. I'm not gonna pour no salt in your Kool-Aid, dog. Let's get the 929. Let's see if he back on the horn. What's good? Okay. Oh. You on, sir? But earlier we you was out there making some moves. You know what I'm saying, in these streets.
I'm out here making some moves, man. I work in pest control, so I was speaking with one of my customers.
I hear you, bro.
All right, what's going on, Mr. Walks on the Sky? How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. What you got for the show?
A couple things real quick. Last time I spoke with you, it was way back when in training camp. Watch your show. We was talking about Austin Richards. My name is also Will. My thing is, I'm relishing in the fact that it's a weird year because when Dak is playing at the level he's playing, and you got a salty person like Cam Newton who ain't do really much of nothing outside of, game changing and not diving on a fumble in the Super Bowl. Everybody's criticizing our quarterback, and yes, he keeps going out here. I honestly think that we are going to beat the ever-loving shit out of the Buffalo Bills. I live in New York for the time being, and the weather has been pretty much 50, 60.
Yeah, they got us
maybe a 40-degree.
There it is. 50 degrees. 50 degrees. Occasional shower. High around 50 with 13 miles per hour. Look, man,
that sounds like weather, Florida to me. That's my home.
That's beautiful football.
That's my home state. Beautiful, bro. I think we're gonna beat the dog life out of these fellas. I think the score is going to be somewhere between 44 to 20. I'll give Josh Allen 20 points because he ain't no scrub. He ain't Jalen Hurts, but he will. He most definitely will give us some turnovers, and you can't give that ball to Dak Prescott right now.
Sure.
You can't, because he's going to score. And then, just like you guys said on the show last night, and even if we don't score, all we need is 30 yards if you kick it off, and we're going to kick the field goal. Aubrey's not missing this year. I don't know what's going on. Everybody is freaking out because the Cowboys are good. This is what we always did. Everybody's waiting on the accident waiting to happen. Well, accident waiting to happen happens to 31 other teams. The inevitable happens to 31 other teams. Only one team gets to win the Super Bowl. And only one quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes has been playing at an elite level since they've been in the doggone. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That's my question. What are we doing here? Dak Prescott has been playing at an elite level since his rookie year. And because he doesn't have a Super Bowl, he's trash? Well, is Dan Marino trash?
Oh, man, that's a low-hanging fruit conversation right there. But, the Cam...
It is, but they always want to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like there's plenty of great quarterbacks who's killed the league, and it's a hard thing to win the Super Bowl.
100%, sure.
All my thing is, I'm like Scott. I'm trying to hold off on this is our year. I'm trying to hold off, Scott. Buffalo. Let's beat the crap out of Buffalo, and let's just go from there. Because if we win the Super Bowl, I'll see you in Texas, and I'll bail anybody out of jail. Carpe Omni, Cowboys Nation. Love y'all.
I'll tell you something right now, but they don't want us to do that. They're like, where's Sky at? Why ain't Sky on the show after the Super Bowl? I'm locked up. Either locked up or passed out. One of the two. I'll see y'all on the afternoon show. Maybe evening. Maybe not even. Look, man. I just take a dub in Buffalo, man. Somebody in the chat said, I don't give a damn about the score. I'm with you. I don't care, man. Just get on the road, win, play clean, and specifically speaking offensively, because that's what we're talking about today. I'd like to see them build some momentum on the road because it's very possible you're going to have to play on said road. But, yeah, man. Y'all got it. 702, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Sky?
What's up with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Hey, I got a comment. You know, everybody keep talking about Dak Prescott. My comment is, since Dak got in the league, Dak been the most scrutinized quarterback of all time in a short period of time. My question to you is, do you think anybody else would have been able to handle all the pressure that Dak deals with, not even on the field, just being a Dallas Cowboys quarterback?
Yeah, that's something that people don't talk about, you know. And then when they do bring it up, it's well, that just comes with it. Sure, it does, but I mean, you can kind of grade things on a curb, having to deal with what you got to deal with here in Dallas. And I'm not even just talking about the attention. I mean, attention's attention. You got social media nowadays. I'm talking about what he has to deal with ownership-wise. I do think that is, and not just him, but the coach too. So, yeah, I think it's different. If you're a part of this organization, specifically a quarterback in this organization, you dealing with something that 31 organizations are not dealing with. That's just how I feel.
Correct. And I also feel like this. A lot of the media keeps saying that you can't put Dak on another team. I disagree with that. If Dak could have just went to any team and just been able to play, I think Dak would have balled out. You know, now, if you take any other quarterback that they keep saying could come to Dallas, I disagree with that. How many mental quarterbacks are out there?
Who's saying that? Somebody saying anybody can come play quarterback in Dallas?
Have you been watching the First Take and all that lately?
I don't watch that, no.
Well, a few of them been saying that they can put Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes
who comes up with these conversations? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, of course. Yeah, they can come to Dallas and play the position. These dudes are elite talents. That's low-hanging, that's low-hanging, stupid conversations. Oh, hey, Patrick Mahomes is going to play in Dallas. Of course. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Come on, what are we doing? First Take? I mean, that's goofy. Now, can Trevor come play here? Can Tua come play? Can Jalen come play here? Can those guys deal with all this other stuff? Maybe we have a conversation. But you bring up Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. What are they doing on these shows, man? This is goofy.
I don't know. Clickbait. Doing a lot of clickbait, man. But that's all I wanted to say, Sky. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Cowboys Nation.
Salute to you, man. Salute. These shows, man, they're getting bored. What was it a couple weeks ago? In the middle of this winning streak, they brought up, is Dak Prescott an all-time great Cowboys quarterback? What? Guys, I mean, if you're going there for entertainment, to laugh at the ha-ha, like if you're doing that, by all means, do your thing. If you're going there for quality football takes, boy, you're going to be waiting a long time. Now, you got to sift through because there's some guys like RC. I respect RC. Me and them boys. NFL Live, cool. Get up, hit or miss sometimes, depending who's there, but I fool with it. Most of those FS1 shows are garbage. But first things first is I get what this shtick that they're doing over there. I'm not even going to speak about the other one. That's a terrible show. I'm liable to get canceled to talk about a particular person on there, but boy. B-Bird. Close us out, man. What's up with you?
Hey, what's up, Sky?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Look, we just don't listen to those shows. Those are the low-hanging fruit. They sit around in production, pre-production, to say, how many different ways, let's come up with the different ways we can steer this show towards the Dallas Cowboys, in baseball and basketball season. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's what pays the bills, and that's why, if you really want knowledge, man, you can't go to those. It's just entertainment, barbershop talk, and that's all it is. And, man, you're never going to get any good football knowledge. All you're going to do is run yourself hot, but it's all pre-planned. That's why you never watch it. It's not organic at all, man. So I never watch those shows because I want intellect. I want somebody to stir my mind. Give me something I can look forward to in the games.
Crack open your cranium and fertilize your brain.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You said something earlier, Scott, I want to comment on. I want to give you some credit on. You said that, man, look, that Kansas City offense just ain't it. I want to give you some credit on that because not a lot of people saying that. The easy way to say Mahomes is great. He's an all-time talent, so they're going to be good. But let me just say this. One of the things that I said after last year, and you remember me saying this, that no Cowboy wide receiver caught a pass after the second quarter. After the first quarter of that game. It showed you how bad our offensive wide receiver core was. Then Pollard got hurt, so we only had one playmaker, and you're just not going to beat that 49er defense with one guy that makes plays out there. So what I'm getting to is that I'll be honest with you, I was more disappointed in the first time with that, the first San Francisco playoff game than the last one because he just didn't have anyone to throw to. Context matters, but everybody put it on his back, and I was like, y'all can't put this on this guy's back. But I think what they're finding out in Kansas City is that, wide receiver talent matters. They lost Tyreek and they won a Super Bowl with Juju Smith didn't let him go. You can't keep devolving and losing talent and think your quarterback is going to pack all these also rans to the promised land. Just not going to happen. When you have a franchise quarterback, you got to get the most. You got to not say, okay, how can we reduce the core around him, and it still works. That's not the way you do it. You increase the talent around him and win Super Bowls while you got that guy in play. And so they're finding out right now. And I think, Scott, if you go back and look, off my mind, it's 2 games they had credible wide receivers, they probably would have won. You know what I'm saying? You take the offsides away, a credible wide receiver wouldn't have got that. And then I think somebody in the Philly game, I think it was a ball that a guy, I don't know if he dropped it or he dropped it when he turned over.
Just flat out dropped it.
Dropped it. And those are 2 games right there that, okay, if you got Tyreek or if you have Juju, you probably win those games. So they're finding out that, a quarterback alone, I don't care how great he is. I don't care if he's, even with Brady, if you go back and think about it, they kept losing talent at the wide receiver position, expecting him to work wonders. And at some point in time, Brady said, no, I'm out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? You won't put people around me to help me. I'm out of here. All we're going to do is get to deep in the playoffs or divisional round, and we just can't go. And he went to Tampa Bay with a great wide receiver core, and you see what happened there. So I just wanted to just give you credit for talking about Mahomes in that Kansas City situation, man, because you just cannot continue to not support your quarterback with acquisitions and expect him to work miracles, man. Even a talent as great as Mahomes, and we all know he's a great quarterback.
We've been having that. I mean, I've only been doing this for, about 3 seasons, 3.5 if you count kind of that 2019 year where, 2019, 2020, where I was just kind of figuring things out. And I've been having that discussion for ever, even prior to that. Right. And you were here from day one, and that was something I always bring up every offseason because the conversation gets brought up. Well, he's got this, and this. And I'm like, well, number one, you need to supply that for your quarterback, number one. Number two, it really doesn't stop there. You can have decent players to really good players, but if you got piss poor coaching, it does not matter. Yep. And if you have just one or the other, you know how hard it is to overcome that. Now imagine you've got one or the other, and then you also got to deal with a front office that is not caught up to the league. Just find me. I think I asked this question in the offseason. Find me an organization in the last 10 years that had a very suspect front office, suspect coaching, but they had quality players. Or they might have had quality players, suspect coaching, suspect front. You know what I mean? Or whatever, in whatever order you want. You literally need these 3 things to be clicking in said season, in my opinion, for you to do some really damn good things. It is hard, year in, year out, to overcome that stuff. Maybe you get a lightning in the bottle every here or there. But consistently, that's just not going to happen.
And then we go against the 49ers who have them all in a row, right?
And got them all.
Players, they got
and
they got in the front office. And then you wonder why we lose. And then people look at it on the field and, no, man, this is bigger than that, man. Y'all don't understand. Y'all looking at the field, but it's just really the product of everything else that's involved. So
I hate this for Pat because I'm a huge Pat Mahomes fan. But at the end of the day, I feel like people needed to see this. People needed to see this, that you cannot just no matter how good you are, you cannot strip a quality quarterback of weapons and say, hey, just go out there with Kadarius Toney and MVS and go win us a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. And a shell of himself, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce ain't the elite all-pro Travis Kelce of last year. He's not. So now you're asking Pat Mahomes to say, all right, look, go out here and cover all this stuff against these quality teams. Man, them boys ain't going to, they're not winning no Super Bowl. They ain't going to the playoffs. Nah. They may even win a playoff game, but they're not they're not winning a Super Bowl. It's not happening. So I'm kind of happy that the nation can see an all-time great quarterback needs help. But let me ask you a question, because I don't watch these shows. Is that the conversation, though, out there? Is it loud? Is it giving the same energy as when, Noah Brown was here and Michael Gallup? Is it the same? I don't think it is.
Well, here's the deal. The problem is with me and you, Scott, we wouldn't know because I don't watch those shows.
Sure.
To be totally honest with you, I've cut them all out. The chat may know, but I don't know what the narrative is. I think they're probably, he's a media darling, so they're probably making excuses for him. But you know what I'm saying? And Mahomes is still great. But it's just that they're not getting the blame that we would have gotten.
I hate to use the word excuses, right? I hate that. Nowadays, man, that has turned into such a derogatory word. So I've been trying to use reasons. Because a reason might sound like an excuse. No, they're just legitimate reasons. There's a reason why they're losing these games in the clutch, because the receivers suck. There's a reason why, the Packers or the Eagles, get a victory because MVS can't catch the ball. There's a reason why the Buffalo Bills don't, they're not losing with a minute left to go because Kadarius Toney doesn't know how to line up on sides. There's a reason why opening game they lose to the Detroit Lions because Kadarius Toney dropped 17 passes. Those are reasons.
Yeah. Those are reasons.
Maybe they're reasons with them and they're considered excuses with us, but those are legitimate reasons.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say, man, is this game here it'll show our maturity, I think. And the reason why I say that, Scott, because I used to do some sports gambling, right? And we have an anomaly right now that doesn't happen often, but it happens a few times in the season. And what I'll tell you what it is. It's a team like Dallas that played a division rival goes on the road in the other conference and plays, they don't really fare well as far as gambling wise, like covering the spread or winning. The reason why is because you put your emotions in this one game and you won it, and then you go into a something that don't really, is a team that you're not familiar with. Is it another conference?
Uncommon opponent,
so yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that, like, the emotions go down for that game. Like, you don't have any kind of history with this team much at all. So, and I'll give you one of the times that it happened recently. You remember the overtime game in 2018 that we won against Philadelphia?
At home?
I think that's the one. Yeah, at home. Yeah, that's the one. I think Cooper got that tip ball. I think he won in overtime.
Okay.
We went to play Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis next week. We lost 23-0.
Well, you said recently. That was
I'm sorry.
That was a long time ago, bro.
Oh no, but I understand what you're saying. But this ain't just for the Cowboys. This is for every team. That is in place for every team.
I mean, if using your example, I mean, if you want to say recent, I would maybe the Chiefs. I don't know who we played before that, but when the Cowboys went to Kansas City, they left there with a stinker. Maybe that's like the most recent type of example. I don't know who they played the week before. I know they lost next week though to LA, but I don't know if I could go back that far, bro. I'm sorry. That Dak Prescott in 2018.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not. Oh no, but what I'm trying to say is in this, it's not like, oh no, this is a different team. No, this happens for everybody in the NFL. So this is still going on. Like what I'm trying to say is emotionally teams have a hard time getting back up after a big game like this. And so they don't necessarily play as well going to a team that they don't really, not familiar with and all that kind of stuff. So if they do come through and play well in this game, I say, okay, this team's growing up. You know what I'm saying? Because they just going out there playing. They ain't falling into no trends or anything like that.
I'd argue. Can I say this? I'd argue pretenders don't get up for a game like this. I'd argue.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Contenders do. If you are a legitimate contender, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go out there and win, right? Again, like I said, this is not some bum ass team. This is a quality team on the road, right? So if you're a pretender, yeah, you might say all my emotions are poured into beating the Eagles last week. We're gonna go out here and lay a dud. If you're a contender, you say, wait a minute now, time out. This team their backs are against the wall. They're about to come out here clawing and scratching and fighting to try to get into playoffs. Number one. Number two, what is the first thing you want to accomplish as a team? Win the division.
Yeah.
What do you have to do that? You got to win, right?
Yeah.
And number three,
our backs are against the wall too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Our backs are against the wall. Number three, you also are playing for number one overall seed. So, I if they go out here and they lay an egg, that'll say more to that will honestly say more to me than if they lost this game fighting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you're going to lose games, especially against quality opponents. But if they go out here and lay an egg, that will say, okay, maybe this team is a pretender then, because they're going to have to play on the road.
And Sky, I'll tell you about my prediction. What I want the score to be. I want us winning by 1. I don't give a damn what the score is. I mean, I just want to win.
Yeah,
I don't care nothing about blowouts or anything. I want the W.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's by half a point, man. I just need the W, man. I'm gonna let you go, man, so you can get off with your day, man. I appreciate you talking to me.
Man, great talk there, B Bird, and I'm with you. The style points sounds fun. It is fun, definitely when you're coming off a victory like the Eagles. We all banging our chests and whatnot. But maybe it's just me at the point of the season where get out there, get out of it with the dub, get out of there healthy. Get out of there healthy. I said this earlier. Like you're not going to blow everybody out. You're just not. I would love to do that, but I don't mind some scraps. Don't mind that because you're getting them playoffs. You're not going to be up 40-13 every week. You're going to be in some ugly scraps. And when the Cowboys got in ugly scraps the last 2 years, really we can go further back, they ain't know how to respond in that situation. I don't mind throwing some blows against quality opponents. I don't. They go out here and they win by 10. Man, to me, that's a goddamn blowout against this team on the road. But if they got a scrap, they get out of here with a 10, 8, 9 point victory, whatever. I think that would do more than, hey, we just blew out Buffalo 44-10. Block field goal, touchdown. We up 24-0 at halftime, and we just coast our way through. Awesome victory. But there's a little bit of part of me that want to see this team on the road have to scrap and get a victory against a quality opponent. Because I promise you, going into the playoffs, if you got to go to Philly, if you got to go to San Francisco, if you got to go to Detroit for whatever reason, you're going to be scrapping. You're going to be scrapping, and are you ready for it? Do you know how to get that victory on the road? So, sure, if we blow them boys out in this one, fine. A little part of me want to see us scrap against Miami then. Can we handle that? That's all, But at the end of the damn day, whether it's 40-0 or 35-34, two important things. Get out there with the dub and get out of there healthy. Right? So, that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's why when I do these especially against a team like this. I mean, this ain't the Panthers. This ain't the Washington football people. I fully expect this game to be scrappy. Fully expect it to be. And we talked about this when the schedule broke. Oh, I love this part of the schedule because it's going to tell you everything you need to know about your squad. You want to go into these playoffs having gotten to some fights. Because if you think for a second the playoffs is just going to be a cakewalk, you're mistaken. So when I saw this schedule, Miami, Buffalo, Philly, Detroit, because I knew Detroit was going to be a good team, I was like, oh yes. There's going to be none of this pretending stuff that we saw previously when you're blowing out Washington, because they trash. You're blowing out Philly's practice squad at the end of the season. You're going to know a lot about your squad over this next month. I love it. Give me a nice scrappy battle against a team. Because you know why? Because, if you into what they got to say out there. But for them, right? You heard Mike. Mike came out after the Seattle game and said, man, we needed this. We needed this. And I agree. Dallas needed to say, okay, if we get into a game where we got to go blow for blow, can we respond? Defense responded when it needed to the last 3 possessions. And your offense went down and got the game-winning drive. I take that over 40-0 all day and tomorrow. Because we beyond the first half of the season, first 4 games of the season. We at that stage of, who are you really? Or as my guy would say, do I still got it? What's this one?
What do you mean by that?
No, not that one. Did I get rid of it? There we go.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Who are you? Because we not the team in week 5. No, nobody is. Nobody's the same team they were in week 5. You're going to find out. You're going to find out over these next 4. I digress. Let's get to some super chats here. What's the day? Okay, a couple of them. Cool. Brad Howard, appreciate the super chat.
Super chat.
Brad Howard says, Cowboys play in New Jersey, Washington, Philly every year. Why is there concern about cold weather in Buffalo? You're right. Cowboys play at those places all the time. I think the conversation, though, comes up with Buffalo because I don't know if you're familiar, but Buffalo's weather, if it gets bad, it is nothing like playing in New Jersey, playing in Washington, D.C., or playing in Philly. It is nothing like it. So I think that's why it's a conversation. I think it's a fair conversation. But once you see the weather report, and the weather report says 50 degrees, I mean, that goes out the window. Now it's about, okay, the environment is going to be fine in regards to the weather. The weather's fine. Now it's just your normal road stuff. Buffalo's a tough place to play at. They're 5-2 at home right now. Even in their losses, these aren't just like they're getting blown out. Like it is what it is. Teams play better at home. It's going to be loud, really loud. The energy is going to be rocking, so you're going to have to meet them there. But weather-wise, as long as it's not some snowy game or 20 degrees or 15 degrees or whatever, right? Yeah, you'd be good to go. Towboat Ty, he dropped 2.
Super chat.
Bold prediction, Bland gonna get another pick 6. So in the Illuminati chat, we kind of talked about that a little bit. I was on the fence of who would get a pick, because I think one of our corners are gonna get a pick. And I was watching the Bills game. Interesting, he hasn't run many of these routes, but I was watching the Denver game. And look, good quarterback. Josh Allen's a fantastic quarterback, but he got ridiculous arm arrogance. Very ridiculous. He does crazy things. But this play wasn't a crazy play. It was just a straight up deep out. And because he can, put it on you from a distance, right? He's got a laser. Sometimes he'll arrogantly be late because he's maybe waiting for something else. So he's a little late on that throw in Denver. My man did one of those patented DeRon Bland picks. Didn't return it for a touchdown, but it was on and out. I think Towboat Ty, DeRon Bland can get one on a play just like that. A play where I'm Josh Allen. I think this piss missile can beat you on a 15, 20-yard out, which is ridiculous. Not many quarterbacks you even ask him to do that routinely, but he's got an arm. And DeRon Bland is going to be sitting on that. And I think he's going to get one. I do. I think DB's going to get a pick. I don't know if it'll be a pick 6, but I do think DB's going to get a pick in this.
Super chat.
Sean King dropped 5, said it was nice to meet you, Sky. Hope Josh Allen have a bad day. Also, how you feel about game manager? Appreciate that, Deshaun. Nice to meet all of y'all out there at almost said Texas Live at Walk-Ons. We'll be back out there, of course, again on Sunday. Hope Josh Allen has a bad day. We all do, right? We want the Josh Allen fans, the Bill fans, to say, "Man, Josh Allen got to chill." I'm not going to retweet my Josh Allen got to chill until the end of the game, or But it's ready. Also, how do you feel about game manager? Deshaun, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Are you talking about the Cam Newton thing? Cam, this is the wrong year, Cam, to be talking like that. Just not the year, bro. Not the year to do it. I mean, if you wanted to talk about this years ago, if you wanted to talk about game manager 2016, 17, 18, hell, I'll even give you 19. Sure. There's been nothing game managey about Dak Prescott for the last 3 or 4 seasons. If that's what you mean. Now, I could go in here on this because so Cam brings up Dak and Purdy and these boys, and all of a sudden, a lot of traffic for Cam Newton and bringing up his accolades and things like that. I loved watching Cam play. I rooted for Cam hard. I was one of those, coming out of Auburn, he got a lot of scrutiny. I was a big Cam Newton fan. Don't let fandom deter you from what you watching out there as a quarterback playing football. Rooted for Cam. Exciting to watch. Fantastic athlete. Awful quarterback. I hate to even do that. Say this again. Rooted for Cam. Fun football player to watch. Fantastic athlete. All right, I'll reword this. Mid quarterback. Cam, when you had to play quarterback.
Mid! Tell me when I'm telling lies.
For those in the back, fantastic athlete, fun football player, quarterback.
Mid!
I hate I'm doing this to Cam. So, game manager? I mean, was he a game manager? Probably not, because he had to do a whole lot, right? Was he a game changer? Yeah, that 1 year, 100%. 100%. MVP year, dude was unbelievable. But when you talking about quarterbacking, man, don't talk, man. 59% complete. Dude, barely. After his rookie year, he couldn't throw for 4K in a passing error. Wildly inaccurate. Wildly. Turnover machine. Yeah, he can run. Fantastic athlete. 100%, man. Unbelievable athlete. Unbelievable athlete. Fun athlete. Fun football player. But if we're talking about the quarterback position, he's not even, I don't even think he's not even close to Dak Prescott as just a quarterback. So what people are doing out here on these streets? Well, his accolades. There's Cowboy fans out here just putting on a cape for my man. Well, he went to the Super Bowl. What has Dak Prescott done? His story is still being written. Cam Newton was out the league at 32. That's all you need to know. When you can't dunk no more, can you develop a three-point shot? Cam Newton couldn't dunk no more. Consistently. Ain't never have a three-point shot. So you're going to come from my quarterback. And yes, I respect your MVP season. I respect you getting to the Super Bowl. I respect all that. But I watched Cam Newton play. Like, I watched you play, bro. Like, I watched you play, man. I'm sorry. You were not a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. You want to talk about with Brock Purdy? I don't give a damn about all that. But Dak, ain't no way you could pop on. Watching them, both of those dudes play the position of quarterback, you're like, man, that motherfucker right there. He quarterbacking the hell out of this. Nah, that dude running. I had conversations. Hey, is Cam the greatest running quarterback of all time? Right? Those were the conversations we was having. We wasn't having conversations of Cam Newton. Was Cam Newton ever a top 10 quarterback like that? No. I digress, man. call Cam Blake Griffin. I went a little hard on Cam. My bad. Is there some Cam Newton fans in the building? Because I am a Cam Newton fan. I'm going to reiterate that. Cam Newton fan. Ask my opinion on this whole game manager crap. Wrong year to do this, Cam. Wrong year to do this. I'm not about to defend Brock. I'm going to let San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy. No one cares about Jared Goff. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Don't care about Jared Goff. Cam Newton's Dwight Howard. Y'all killing him. His first 3 games were crazy passing-wise. And, yo, again, when he first came in, I was one-on-ones like, man, Cam, prove them dudes wrong, Cam. Let them know you can go back there and pop, 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 dot them up down the field, Cam. 5 years later. All right, Cam. Take off, bro. Go ahead and start running, bro. You know? I thought you was going to be able to dot him up like that. That's not your game. Saying facts. I feel you, Los. I feel you. All right, that's enough, man. I feel like I want a 10-minute rant on Cam Newton. I don't like that. On your way out, hit the like button. Might have a little surprise later. I won't be on with Voch. I don't think Voch is going to have a show today, but me and Foots the King. I'm going to give you all a nice little show later on Foots' channel. So I want to say 6 Eastern, so that'll be 5 my time. Yeah. So around 6 p.m. Eastern, me and Foots going to kick it, talk a little bit more about this Cowboys-Bills matchup. Honestly, I'm going to keep it a bean. I was more excited to study up on this matchup than I was the last one. Maybe because we already played Philly, but this is kind of uncommon opponent with a better quarterback, in my opinion, better offense, in my opinion, a better defense, in my opinion. So I was more excited to see, watch them and study them. So it's going to be a fun game, man. Fun breakdown later. IT dropped 2.
Super chat.
He said, damn, participation awards are a thing nowadays. Yeah, I mean that's what they doing on the streets, Because I promise you, if we got to the big game and choked it away and didn't fall on a fumble and they never let us live it down. But anyway, let me go ahead and press this button before I get up out of here.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Yeah, Jay Worthy, put the notifications on, man. Hey, Rohit. See, I was trying to defend that whole Scam Newton thing. I ain't like the Scam Newton thing. Call my quarterback no game manager, man. All right, we out here. Love y'all. Peace.
Squad!